Welcome to the Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast, starring Q the Boss.
Yo. Welcome back to another episode of Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast. They call me Q the Boss. I'm so excited. Guys, this is my big sister. This is family. And the one thing we acknowledge is that blood don't have to make you family. It's respect, honor, integrity. This woman I value extremely because of the fact that she speaks with a lot of logic. She speaks with a lot of wisdom. She speaks with a lot of experience. This is my big sister. I want y'all to give her a round of applause. We call her KB. Listen, today's topic, guys, is do we still value marriage? But I want to say this before she even speaks. The reason why I chose to have this topic with her is because this is I would like to say this is one of my advisors when it comes to talking about relationships, marriage. A lot of my content comes from me and her having conversations as far as positive and elevating and family structure. This is a woman that comes from very strong parents, but also built a very strong family. That's what matters the most. So guys, I'm gonna start by asking her this question. Why don't people value marriage anymore?
I think people are losing value within themselves, actually. I think everybody is still trying to figure themselves out. They don't know which way they're going. You got couples that have been married for years. Some people are going through midlife crisis. Some people are changing, careers and things of that nature. I just think that people are not finding themselves where they need to be,
You know, the other day I was talking to a younger guy. He said he thinks it's an age thing. And I said, I find it both. I find it all over. I find it 50, I find it 30, I find it 40. A lot of people just don't value marriage. And it's sad because it's like when you look at it, that is the premise of building a family is life.
That's correct.
You know, and I think even when you say hypothetically you come from a broken family, what you should do is change the trajectory of your family by creating what you wish you had.
Right, that's true.
You know, I personally know you and your husband, and I would say, guys, I value their marriage a lot. They're a great couple, and they're great for balance. One thing I've learned is from you and your husband is balance.
Absolutely.
How did you guys learn balance? Well, firstly, how long you been married?
20 plus years.
20 plus years, guys. Yeah. Okay, so she has a right to talk about marriage, guys. So next question is, how did y'all learn y'all balance? Say in the beginning, because everything is fresh, is new, so we learning each other, especially with moving in with each other.
Wow. How I learned balance was to respect who he is.
Okay.
Respect where he came from. His upbringing and things of that nature. When you get married, it's called meshing. And when you're meshing with somebody, you're meshing how they grew up, how you grew up, and you're coming together as one.
Yes.
So everybody is not the same.
Yes.
For instance, you might have grew up in a clean house, they might have not. A lot of things come into play when you're trying to balance, your upbringing and how you are and things of that nature. And you still, within that, you have to respect the person also.
I agree.
To respect the fact that they grew up differently than you did.
Yes.
And you just have to kind of figure it out.
Yes. When you hear the term, choose your battles wisely, what do you hear when you hear that?
Be quiet sometimes.
And people feel like when you say be quiet, that is not a disrespectful thing, guys. Let's acknowledge that. Certain things don't warrant an opinion. Certain things don't warrant words. One thing I think I've learned now, and this is me speaking to you a lot, I learned everything don't warrant me having to respond.
Absolutely.
Sometimes people just need your ear.
Right. That's true.
So let's say hypothetically your husband comes home, hey, I want to vent. Mm-hmm. Today doesn't warrant my opinion. Today is more like, just listen to him.
I agree.
And vice versa. Just listen to her.
Right.
What kind of advice would you give to a young couple today looking to be married and sustaining their marriage?
First, you probably need counseling. I would say that's number one. Again, we're coming together, meshing with people, and people have different situations going in life, childhood traumas, adult traumas, relationship traumas. Yes. I think everybody should sit down with a trusted psychologist, therapist, your pastor, whatever you feel that could help you before you say I do, because again, you're talking about coming together with finances, discussing things like, do you want children or you don't want children? Get counseling. It's very, very important.
Yes.
I have to say that that's number one thing that I would say.
Yes.
And you have to go into a marriage not expecting the person to be you. You have to allow people to be their own individual self, because a lot of times we go in thinking, I want you to be like this.
Yes.
You cannot impose yourself on someone else.
Laundry
Allow
list.
them to allow them to be who they are and accept them for who they are, and just pretty much just work through it.
Wow, I love that. Let me give you a round of applause for that. When you guys hear this, like this is why I say I listen to her speak, because she speaks with wisdom, but she also speaks with logic. A lot of her speaking is logic. We speak a lot, and she don't personalize the conversation. I think that in order to have great dialogue between men and women, we have to have logic. And I got to be able to hear her. She's able to hear me. This is why there's dialogue and is able to run smooth, right? One thing I realized that in today's society, a lot of men and women don't know how to speak to each other rather than at each other.
Excellent.
Would you agree with that statement?
I would agree 100%.
You know, like give me a scenario what you see what people do in today's society a lot when it comes to having a tough conversation.
Again, we're going back to imposing ourselves on others, and we're
Yes.
not hearing what they're saying. You're not taking, their opinion on something and how
Yes.
they feel,
Yes.
and quickly, we speak just to respond, and we're not really hearing the person, and you dismiss the person.
Yes.
I in my marriage, I talk a lot. Believe it or not, I am a shy person, but I talk a lot.
Very shy.
I am the kind of person
Fake
that
shy though. It's fake shy, guys.
I'm shy.
It's fake shy.
I believe in talking things. I don't
Yes.
believe in putting things pushing everything under the rug.
So
It doesn't
just an
make
elephant?
sense. Right. Talk about the difficult conversation, whether
Yes.
you like it or not.
Yes.
Because if you don't, that builds up steam.
Yes.
Builds up hate.
Yes.
Builds up anger.
Yes.
And then guess what? That comes out in an argument.
And you know what, I've noticed that a lot where it's like but I think that's what you say all the time about communication.
Yes.
I think it wouldn't come out in anger if we were allowed to just be ourselves and organically
Absolutely.
say how we feel.
Yes, I
But I
agree.
realize that most of us suppress,
Right.
and then when it comes out in aggression. So we suppress, then it comes out as aggression.
Absolutely.
And that's what I'm seeing in today's society.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just say you have a young guy, he doesn't have his life together, but he's looking to court a woman, or he's thinking about getting into a relationship. What would be your advice to him, either him or her? What would you say?
How about you work on yourself first? Work on yourself first. Do that.
I think a lot of guys need to hear that. I genuinely believe that a man, let's just have this conversation. When a man takes on a woman, it says that I'm in a position to provide, protect,
Absolutely.
and give security.
Absolutely.
Especially in our adult years, not young high school fling dating. That's kiddie.
Right.
We're talking about adults. When you come to a woman and she has expectations, me and you always say, I think there are less gold diggers and more stability diggers, but I think women need stability.
Absolutely.
So I think that is normal.
Right.
What do you feel when a man feels like a woman wants too much, because that's the natural essence of a woman?
Well, the nature of a woman, just like you said, is stability.
Yes.
Meaning financial security,
Yes.
romantic security, and
Yes.
protection.
Yes.
If a woman doesn't have those things, I'm sorry, fellas, she's not going to submit to you.
Never in life.
She's not going to respect you. Come ready. But in order to do that, you have to work on yourself. Like I said before, let's work on ourselves. Let's figure out what's wrong with us
100%.
and get us right first. Then go out and look for somebody. Because the truth be told, I mean, you're looking to get married, but you don't have a job.
Oof.
You're looking to get married, you don't have a home.
Oof.
You're looking to be married and you don't have a car.
Oof.
You have to come ready.
You see what she's saying is logic, and that's what a lot of men, they'll get in their feelings. He be like, if you didn't want me when I didn't have anything, don't want me now. It's not that. When you bring struggle to a woman's doorstep, that is going to heighten a high level of insecurity, because women need stability. It's just their nature, especially if you're talking about creating new life. Because a woman is automatically looking at her child. Like, how could this work? How could this make sense?
Absolutely.
Right? We're talking about a woman, not a girl. Girl make poor decisions, boys make poor decisions. Men look like them. I know she's gonna expect these things, so let me get it right. And then women look like I should expect these things because that is normal. I think society today in itself haven't normalized that a man should have his life together before meeting a woman. And what do you think a woman should be before she's ready to get married?
Be ready to sacrifice.
Okay.
Be ready to know what your role is. When I say role, I'm not talking about cooking and cleaning and stuff
course,
like that.
of
I'm
course, of
talking
course.
about
That's traditional.
being a nurturer.
Yes.
Understanding, what it takes to run the household.
Yes.
Because obviously everything works as a team. And if you don't have if you don't have teamwork, you have no work at all.
The dream won't work.
You know, so I say women, again, the same thing I said for the men, work on yourself. You know, oftentimes we think that we are perfect.
Yes.
Like we don't have any flaws. Listen, we all have flaws.
Everyone does.
Everybody's not perfect. You know, we all have things about us that we have to get together and, you know, build up to be better.
Yes.
Women, work on yourselves.
Yes.
Learn how to be quiet sometimes. Learn how to listen without responding.
Yes.
And first and foremost, if you do have the type of man that's providing security financially, romantically, and protection,
yes,
you best believe you ought to respect him.
I agree 100%. I want to address the elephant in the room right now, right? There's a word that it seems like a trigger word, but I have to bring it up because it seems like if it comes from a man, it's like controlling. I want from a woman's lens, could you explain when you hear the word submission, what do you hear?
I hear submit to the leader of the household, meaning if he has a dream, a vision, and a plan and a time to arrive at it. Because naturally, you're not going to submit to somebody who's taking you to a brick wall.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
Submission just means coming together as a team and assisting.
Yes.
Because you are, as a wife, the helpmeet.
Yes.
That's the first thing people don't seem to understand.
Yes. You know, when I see now a lot of times when you say things like submission, a lot of, I'm going to go on record and say this. We're talking finance, right? Ladies and gentlemen, most people make just enough to survive.
Absolutely.
I feel like society calls a lot of men bums because they haven't built this extravagant lifestyle that a woman that may be a little materialistic wants. So when you say like I know times, like for instance, there could be a time where I could be the breadwinner, then my woman could be the breadwinner. Would you say that is normal in relationships?
Yes.
Where things can change financially?
Yes, immediately, actually.
But do you love the person any less?
You shouldn't. You should not love the person any less at all, because just like what you're saying, people go through finances up and down.
Yes.
I mean, in my marriage, 1 minute I'm up, 1 minute I'm down.
Yes.
1 minute my husband's up, 1 minute he's down.
Yes.
If you don't know how to work together, again, as a team, I use that term teamwork because it's so important. If you don't work together as a team, because marriage is a partnership.
Yes.
If you're not working together as a team, how is it going to work? How is it going to work? And ladies, when he says submit, he's not talking about do what I say every time. He's really just talking about you just seeing his vision and helping him get to that point.
Yes.
You understand? That's what marriage is about.
Yes.
Helping you get to that point. You are your partner's right hand or left hand when needed.
Yes.
You know, it's the coming together that's really, really important.
See, when she says, this is why I say she has a lot of logic. And everything, it's crazy how everything you said, I'm in agreement. Yeah. Everything she said, and I'm not tooting her horn, but it's logic. It's like, for instance, if I'm in a situation where, say hypothetically, my woman is better with money than me, it doesn't make me a weak man because I allow her to control the finances.
Absolutely not.
And I want men to hear that. It doesn't make you a weak man because you allow your woman who's better with finances to control it. Sometimes I feel like that term alpha has created so much separation between men and women because they're fighting for a role that a lot of them don't even want. When you hear the term alpha, what do you even get out of that?
When you say alpha, I think of leader.
That's it.
A leader.
So, elaborate on leader.
And a leader, a person that's going to push the family towards better.
Like you said earlier, you said it's a vision. How can a leader not have a vision, right? And men, do not try to lead with ego. And I'm saying this on record. Men, please, because like she said, do not lead your family to the gates of hell because of your ego.
Right.
If I know that my woman has a great vision, she has a great plan, and she's also good at executing, there is nothing wrong with letting your woman lead because it all depends on the way you raised.
Right.
Like you can say, oh, a woman, I know a lot of very strong women. I come from a strong mother. So I've seen strong women my whole life.
Right.
And I'm not nervous of a strong woman.
Right.
Right? But a lot of men, I feel like they're insecure when it comes to dealing with strong women.
Almost intimidated.
Very intimidated. You know, there was a study that said the other day, it said, the more educated a black woman becomes, the least desirable she becomes to men. Wow. When you hear that, what do you hear?
Wow, I didn't hear that. I didn't know. Wow, I don't like that.
I don't like it either. I don't like it either.
I I don't like that.
You know, look, you think about that. The more educated a woman becomes, the least desirable to a man she becomes. I think what I'm hearing is most men automatically assume that she doesn't have the submissive ability because she earns. And I think that's why a lot of men get intimidated. They say because he's weak or he's not strong. I say, no, they just feel like she can't submit, right? Because submission is always about finances.
Yeah, but what if pushing your education, wouldn't that help the family?
See the logic? But I think a lot of people, they don't think like that, right? You take once money becomes the premise of your relationship, I think your relationship has no real backing. It's nothing.
Right.
Because if I'm making more money for the family, why am I complaining about paying more bills for the family?
Yeah, you shouldn't.
You know, but it seems like today, you know, I'll have a lot of conversations with men and women. There are men right now who don't know the order of life. Because again, in order for a woman to submit, there has to be order.
Yeah.
In the order, man, meaning you have to meet certain criterias. And I don't blame them for feeling that way.
Right.
Because women aren't stupid. Let's just talk truthful. They are emotional, but they're not stupid.
I agree.
Right? So when you look at logic, a woman will look for a king to submit to.
Absolutely.
You know, like one day, I think it was, one of us was talking, maybe it was you, we were talking about how like the lion with the bigger mane, the other lionesses is more attracted to him. The bird with the biggest feathers. Women are naturally more attracted to a real man.
A king.
Yes. One thing Karen always says is, she says, one thing I respect about her, she said it's not about the man having the $1 billion and $1 million job. Right. She said, but she cannot date a man that doesn't what?
Work.
Elaborate on that.
I'm sorry. I'm not looking to take care of anybody. Meaning in that way.
Of course.
I'm talking about before the marriage.
Of course.
I think a man should work. A man that doesn't work doesn't eat. That's in the Bible. I don't know the scripture as offhand right now, but you gotta work.
Gotta work.
I don't care where you work. It could be Walmart, Walgreens. You gotta bring something to the table, please.
But she's right, because again, you cannot lead from behind. You gotta lead in front. And when you stand in front of her, she gotta know who's leading her. Right. Think about it. If you're the best fighter, shouldn't you stand in front of the person you're protecting?
Yes.
So if you're a man and you're trying to protect your woman, you should be in front of her. Right. You know? So here's my question. What do you think changed? Because you always talk about your dad, and I want to give this man his flowers. Okay. Karen speaks very highly of her mother and her father, right? One day I want to meet him, I'm going to be honest with you. You know, she speaks very highly of her father, very strong man. And her brothers also, yes. You know, so your sisters too.
Yes.
The whole family, let me just say, the whole family.
The whole family.
But my question is, from your father, from a girl, let's go back to childhood. What was it about your father that you said when dating, I have to find this? Give me like 3 qualities about your dad that you said, this is mandatory outside of working.
Number 1, he created structure.
Created structure.
Number 2, he created family.
Number 2, he created family.
And he made sure that his family was taken care of no matter what.
And he made sure his family, give me 2 more, I need 5. This man sounds amazing, right?
Well, my dad was also strict too.
Very strict.
I appreciated that, by the way, because I realize now that it created the structure that we needed for our family.
Yes.
I mean, that's pretty much what I could take from my dad.
You know something? There's a lady that knows you. Her name is Elise. She works at I don't want to say where, but one of the schools.
Okay, maybe.
Short, very, very short hair.
Oh,
very
yes,
short.
yes.
So she said the other day,
yes.
It's funny because I posted a video with you in the last episode, and she goes, I know her whole family. And she said, Q, they're a great family.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
You know, I haven't met all of them.
Right.
But to hear someone that's seen the episode, I mean, shot me a DM like, yo, they have a great family. She said, yo, you need to bring her. And I'm like, nah, we're already setting that up.
Oh, wow.
You know?
Wow.
So it's amazing when you look at, even though I'm not in a room, my family still represents me.
Yeah, I appreciate,
you know?
I love that. Yeah.
So now, moving forward, what would you say is mandatory as a woman you learned from your mother? Give me 3 things.
Ladies, you might get mad at this, but cater to your husband.
Cater to your husband. If you get mad at that, you should be married. Because men, we believe that. I don't think women, let me just say this, guys. I don't think women are materialistic. A lot of them aren't. Women do like nice things, right?
For sure.
There's just women. Like you gotta to know a woman is to know a woman.
Oh yeah.
You have to accept it. Otherwise, no disrespect, men, but don't date them.
Right.
You know, because it's just what it is. Like you gotta know a woman. There's certain things like men like loud cars and engines, right? Women don't complain about that. That's your thing. We all have our hobbies. So you said, what was number one?
What did I say? I lost my train of thought, Q.
Okay. Cater to your husband.
Oh, how did I forget that?
Yes.
Cater to your husband.
Cater to your husband. Give me another one.
You better learn how to cook.
Learn how to cook. Ladies, you better can cook.
And I'm not trying to hurt nobody's feeling. Learn how to cook.
Learn how to cook.
A man wants to come home to a clean house.
Yes.
And a cooked meal.
Yes. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, it's not.
So what is the last one? Give me one more thing.
The last one is love. My mother brought a lot of love. She always taught us to stay together.
Yes.
I am my brother's and my sister's
Yes.
keeper.
Yes.
So she was the
You're
love
the
of the
oldest too,
family.
right?
I am the oldest.
So that's a big job.
Yes.
It's a big job.
Oh yes.
Yeah. You know, she said, cater to your husband. She said, you better can cook.
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, she said love. You know, the one thing I think I take from healthy marriages, and speaking to you and a couple of other women and men I respect as married who not fake, she's not fake. That's one thing I will give you guys. She talks straight.
Yeah.
The one thing I will
raw.
say is the selfless. I think a healthy relationship is very selfless.
Yes.
You know, I've noticed that more people today are selfish.
Yes.
And they think that it's about what can I get. Like today I was telling one of the guys that work at my shop, I said there's a level of codependency. You can be emotional for something called, let's say for instance, I didn't get a lot of attention from my parents.
Right.
I didn't get a lot of affection. I didn't get a lot of touching. So when I get older, I become codependent on it because I never got it. So sometimes you chase it because you never felt the love that you needed. And when I say you needed, one of your siblings, they got more than enough love and they got the same amount of love as you, but that was enough for them.
Right.
But for you personally, it might not be enough.
Right.
Allison, how many siblings do you have?
Oh wow, it's like a whole bunch of us. Total 14.
Yes, 14 siblings.
And
And how
I'm
did
the
your
oldest.
balance the love?
Well, every child, because I'm a mother of 4, every child has an individual self.
Wait, mother for where?
Thank you.
Come on, guys.
You love your children as a whole unconditionally.
Yes.
But you love them differently.
Yes.
Again, like you said earlier, somebody might require more attention, somebody might require less attention. But everybody has their own different personality. So you're gonna love them the same to a certain extent.
Okay.
You know, but everybody's different, Q. Everybody's different. Nobody's the same.
You know, one thing I love is like we talk about her family and we talk about her children. And we talk about her husband. And the one thing I love is when she speaks about her children, she's like, yo, Q. You know, one thing I want to give you, I know her son very, very well. He's been coming to my shop since she brought him in as a little boy. And she said, Q, he's going to be a good husband.
He is.
And I looked at her like, I'm not surprised.
He is.
And she's like, why are you not surprised? I said, because think of logic. He comes from structure. She's a very, very disciplined woman. Don't let this soft tone
Yeah, I'm
crap
tough.
fool you. She's tough.
I'm tough.
She's tough. But tough in a good way, right? She's not tough in a
Yes.
disrespectful manner. But if you got something in you, she's going to bring it out. She's the first person that ever listened to me talk about, I'm writing a book. When I said I was going to start this podcast, everything I've said I was going to do, I ran it by her every single time. Every morning we see each other at a protein shake space where we sit there and we have conversations. It's a safe space where you're able to think.
We call it Herbalife Chronicles.
So yes, it's the Herbalife Chronicles. And we're able to sit there and like, you get away, right? So when did you start noticing like, I think my son is going to be a great husband?
When he got a girlfriend.
Okay.
And he didn't bring her to us right away. What he did was he waited. And I noticed he was going out. I'm like, where's this guy going out? Nice, edged up, smelling good. I'm like, he's getting ready for somebody.
Somebody.
So finally, after dating her, I think for a year, he brought her around.
Wow.
And I'm going to be honest with you, I instantly loved her. Like right off the back, I knew that this particular girl was going to be the one
Wow.
that changes him.
Wow. So my question is, do you see qualities in her that you have?
Absolutely.
But they say, did they say any smart man that has a good mother would find a woman that's similar to his mother?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Because what if you didn't have a good mother?
Then that's no good. But if you had a good mother, then you should look for those qualities.
I agree.
What would you say is some of the qualities that you see in her that you have also?
She's nurturing.
Wow.
She's
Wow.
nurturing. I can tell that she loves my son.
Yes.
You know, and again, I didn't see her a whole handful of times, but even just in the first meeting, I'm like, wow, she's a good person because she too comes from a good family as well,
Wow.
with both parents there.
Wow.
No.
So we this episode we're talking about, do we value marriage? So I'm asking you, what do you think the importance of a child or a person coming from two parents, even if they're not married, but still having structure where they're able to co-parent? What do you think is the importance of that?
Respect first. You don't have to be with somebody. You know, you could be divorced or what have you. But if you come to the common ground that the child is the most important person in
Yes.
this relationship,
Yes.
you focus on that.
Yes.
Focus on that first and
Yes.
foremost, because if you don't, that's going to be a big problem in itself.
Yes.
You know, children should be loved and cared for and motivated to be better.
Yes.
Like I want my kids, obviously, to be better than me, and
Yes.
they are, and I
Yes.
appreciate that.
Yes. You know, one girl I know, she has a daughter, and she's currently dating a guy. She's pregnant by the new guy, and excuse me, he says that the daughter doesn't gravitate towards him. And I asked him a question. I said, "Do she involve her daughter in a lot of the adult conversations?" He said yes. So I
That's why.
realized, guys and ladies and gentlemen, and I'm saying this for both, I've seen both parties do it. You should never in a million years
please
involve
don't.
your children in adult conversations.
Keep them out of it.
Yes.
Keep
like,
your listen, keep your kids out your bedroom. They
that's-
don't belong there.
Come on. And you know, that's crazy
belong
because
there.
I see a lot of times where people tell their children things, like your mom is not this or your dad is not this.
Wrong.
That's so horrible. So horrible.
So wrong.
Oh my God. I think they should build the perception of who their parents are.
Absolutely. And
You know-
and you know what? You can tell your child whatever you want at a young age. The children grow up.
Yes.
And they start to see things for themselves.
Yes.
So time will tell.
So let me ask you a question from a parent. Let's just say you have a woman, she's a little bitter, and she's not trying to allow the father to have a relationship with her child. What would you say to her?
Shame on you. Shame on you. Because that child is being deprived of knowing both the parents. It's wrong.
Yes. You know, I have a friend of mine, he's going through that currently. And it's sad because it's like, he's worked on himself. I will admit that maybe when he was married, he wasn't the greatest of men.
Okay.
But I think marriage and fatherhood or marriage and motherhood is two different things.
Two different things.
So completely two different roles. I can be a great dishwasher, but I don't mean I'm a great cook.
Right.
And I was telling her, I said, you have to be mindful that that's not the same hat.
Right.
And she still don't want to hear it. Thank you, guys. I'm suffering from allergies today, guys. I just came back. My allergies are killing me. But what would you say to a person that's depriving? So we just said one of the key components that people do when it comes to keeping their children away from the other parent. What about the men that don't want to really give money to their child because they feel like they want to hurt the mother, but they don't realize that they're hurting their child? What would you say about those men that do that? And I do know a lot of men that do that. They try to give
shame on you
crumbs.
too. Shame on you too, because the child still needs financial help. You know, clothes don't buy itself, food don't buy itself. The child still needs help. No matter what you're going through with the mother, I still think that you should try to have some decency there, that at least your child knows, you know, financially you care about them.
Yes.
You know, they didn't
Yes.
ask to be here.
Yeah, I had a debate with a guy. He gives his son about $150 a month.
That's nothing.
Come on. In his mind, he'll say stuff like, I'm not giving her no more money so she can go do her hair. I'm like, bro, you barely giving her enough to get anything
Why are you worried
done.
about that?
You see the logic? And I said to him, I said, it doesn't make sense. I feel like, you know, me and you talk about this a lot. There are a lot of people that are broken and all they doing is creating broken people.
Yes.
And the sad part is you're creating broken little people
Yeah.
who will grow to be broken big people.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm seeing that so much.
Yes.
What would you say to those people who come from trauma? We have to acknowledge that that's normal,
Oh, yeah.
right? But we should normalize it, but it's a lot of people come from it, right? But what would you say to someone that may come from a broken family, but they want to create a healthy family?
First, get counseling. I can stress that over and over again. Get counseling. It's very, very important because you might think that you're over something and then something can happen that triggers you and you're right back to stage one.
Yes.
I say that you could come from trauma. That doesn't mean that you have to be the trauma for your family.
Wow.
Break the cycle. Break these generational curses because it's unnecessary.
Yes.
We're raising the next generation of adults. And if you're bringing trauma to their lives and you had trauma, we're going to keep on having trauma and more trauma and more trauma.
You know, one thing I think that black people are just finally starting to acknowledge that generational trauma is real.
It's real.
Curse. The Bible speaks about the children being the bearer of their father's sins.
Yes.
You know, it speaks about these things. And I'm starting to see, like, I'm going to be a little vulnerable. I remember when I first had my son, I had to be about like 17, 18 years old. And initially, I didn't feel anything was missing when I didn't see my son like that. But when I got to the nitty gritty of why, one day I went to my mom, I said, yo, Mom, you know, at times I don't miss my son.
Wow.
She looked at me like, what? I said, I don't.
Wow.
So she said, I think you should pray over that. I prayed over it. I said, God, give me insight, give me understanding, give me why. Then I started doing my homework. I realized that my grandfather didn't raise my dad. My dad,
There's those generational curses.
didn't raise me.
Yeah.
But then when it came down to me, I looked at it like, I give money, I'm doing enough. But then I started looking at myself in the mirror like, yo, why don't I miss my kid? But I give money, but I'm thinking I'm doing so much. So like, one thing men we have to realize, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna be vulnerable for my men. When you're able to allow your children to be emotional, that is normal. I think fathers and we gotta stop trying to raise little soldiers, right?
Men cry in the dark.
Come on. And that's the logic. A lot of these men cry in the dark. We
Yeah.
gotta stop raising these little soldiers, and these guys are so rough. Because if you teach a boy how to be rough, when it comes to women, they're gonna continue to play rough even with the women.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it just doesn't turn off
Right.
when you raise them like that. So I looked at it like one day I started realizing, like with my son, I said, I realized the emotional aspect of it. You know, you say you have 4 kids.
Yes.
4, would you say they're similar or 4 different personalities?
4 different personalities.
Give me like how one would be. You gotta say no names.
Shy,
One is shy,
outgoing,
one is outgoing,
very educated.
one is very educated,
One is kind of weird
and one is kind of weird. You see that?
in a
That's,
fun way.
listen, that's 4 different kids, 4 different personalities. So one thing I will say is children will teach you how to raise them and parent them. Because like, for instance, I might have to yell at the one that's very outgoing. The shy one, I might have to pull them aside and have a conversation with them.
Yeah.
The very weird one, I may have to learn how to have a conversation with them and connect with them on a weird way.
Yeah, to find out what's going on.
Yes. So this is what humans are, right? We have to learn how to break certain structures that was created in our life before we started. Because genetics are real.
Oh, yes.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
genetics are so real. So when you look at certain people, you'll see like genetics, like in most cases, 2 short people will create a short child.
person. Yeah.
It's just what it is.
Sometimes.
It happens if it's in the genes.
Yeah.
With grandpa, somebody
shifts,
could have been
yeah.
tall. You know, it happens.
Yes.
You know, but in most cases, you know, you get a
It
short
is what it
person.
is, yeah.
So let me ask you now, coming from predominantly, like, let's say, you know, in the area where black people are, what would you say is the marriage state right now when it comes to us?
Who has a marriage anymore? Sad, but who has one?
You know, it's sad when we say that because you look at, everyone talks about what they want, like their grandparents.
Right.
I want the marriage my grandmother and grandfather had. But they don't realize the men and women they have to be to get what their grandmother and grandmother
People
had.
are different now.
It's so different. And it's sad. It's sad. But what advice would you give to a young woman looking for a man? What would you tell her to make sure you look for?
Well, a woman shouldn't even be looking for a man because a man finds a wife. A man who finds a wife is a good thing. So you
Yes.
really shouldn't be looking for anybody.
Yes.
You should be trying to work on yourself.
Yes.
Because we all think that we are what? Perfect.
Yes.
Nobody's perfect. So we
Yes.
have to work on ourselves first.
Yes.
But the best advice that I could give to a woman that wants to be desirable to a man, how about you put God first?
Wow.
Put God first. You know, become a wife
Yes.
first. Like I said, learn how to cook, learn how to handle a home. You know, those type of things. Because if you don't, you're gonna be lonely with your cats.
Oof. if I say it, I get yelled at.
It's the
Right?
truth.
So let me ask you, what would you say to a young woman who's dating potential, or even an older woman who's dating potential?
How about put your clothes back on? Put your clothes back on, ladies. You know, we know that men are visual. Q and I always have this
All the
conversation,
time.
but do things in moderation.
Yes.
I mean, I don't want to see, and I don't mean any pun intended, I might
Yes.
get some flack from this. I don't want to see a 54-year-old with a crop top on. Your heyday is gone. Leave that to the young 20 and 30-year-olds. Put your clothes on, ladies, please.
But you know, when you sit down and you hear someone say that, they look at it like your body shaming. Then they created another one. It's called age shaming. I'm like, I think I don't want to put on my middle school clothes as an adult.
We got age-appropriate clothing,
Yes.
not because I'm small or I have a shape. That means I should wear that.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Let me share something with you. Like, if I'm on the beach with my family, I could wear the two-piece.
Yes.
But I choose to wear the one-piece.
Yes.
It's just all in moderation and respect.
You know, you don't want, it's how you represent yourself, because if you're going to call yourself a mother or a father, you should carry yourself like a mother. I'm not saying you have to behave old.
Right.
You know, because I've been a father since I was 17. So I mean, I should have been acting old since then.
Right. That's
But
true.
like she said, age-appropriate conversations, age-appropriate looks, attire, the way you conduct and carry yourself. Just knowing, like, look, you are a representation of your children also.
Listen, we don't need to be listening to Sexy Red at 54.
Come on.
Even though, you know, I guess that's the hit music. How about turning on a little Bob Marley, some jazz?
Come on. But you know what it is? I feel like we fear getting older.
Maybe.
I think we fear getting older. I think we don't see it as, back in the days when you said, yo, I'm 30, I'm 40, I'm 50, I'm 60. It was like a level of gratitude behind it.
That's true.
Now it's like, you know what? I'm not gonna tell you my age. I'm gonna just try to act my age, and you just gotta guess it. There was a woman that said to me one time, she said, I'm 40, but I know for a fact I give every 25 or 20-year-old woman a run for her money. And being fair to her, she is attractive for a 40-year-old woman.
She's delusional.
Yes. But I said, if I
You
said,
could look good for 54 or 40.
yes.
Those 25-year-olds are not checking for you. Trust me, they're looking for somebody to pay for them.
And that's what you say that is like, oh my God, I'm insulting, I'm disrespectful. I'm like, I just feel like we have to get to a space as a culture where conversations shouldn't offend, it should actually educate.
I agree.
You know, it's a time of learning, it's a time of building. See, the one thing I will say is you allow me to express myself as a man. I'm like, I feel like men are this. And you'll tell me how women are. I don't combat you, and I'm like, I'll question you, like, why do you think they think like that?
Right.
And then I tell you what men think. Like, most cases, men, as she said, we're very visual creatures. We don't choose to be visual.
The part of your nature.
Yes. And ladies, if I can see all your aesthetics on your social media platform, chances are I'm going to look at you just like a HOE, just like any other woman whose dress is very provocative.
For the night. That's not a wife.
Yes.
He's looking for you for the night. It's
Yes.
not a wife.
So would you say now we're in a culture where going under the knife?
God.
How do you feel about that?
Let me tread lightly with that, because I do know people personally who have done that.
Okay.
I'm not against plastic surgery. I just feel like, who are you doing it for? Are you doing it for attention from other men? Are you doing it because your husband don't like the way you look anymore? Why are you doing it? I often think sometimes it's more deeper than the outer aesthetics.
Yes.
I think there's something internal.
Insecurity.
I think that anybody who's actually thinking about going under the knife should really get counseling first.
Yes.
Talk to somebody about
Yes.
why you're doing that. I get it. I have 4 kids. I may look good for 4 kids. But
Yes. You also
don't-
work out.
I also work out.
You also work
I just
out.
don't think that I'm going to go under the knife because I want bigger boobs or bigger hips or a flatter stomach. I mean, I'm content with the way that I look.
I think that's what we should be teaching people, to love themselves.
Self-love.
Yeah. It's like,
Yes.
it's weird because it's like, I think that's when I reached the level of love, when I started loving myself.
Absolutely.
You know, I tell guys all the time. One guy asked me the other day, I said, the brokest days of my life was when I was spending my money on trying to act like I had money. That was the brokest days of my life. Because not only was I broken economically, I was broke mentally. Because everything was about getting attention and validation
From other people. Who doesn't even care about you
Come
anyway.
on. And this is what I think I'm seeing now, even with the surgeries. I'm talking to a woman the other day. She said to me, oh, men are chasing. I said, men chase them for the night because men are visual. The first thing a man sees is attraction before they see anything. A man could have his vernacular could be so advanced, he can grab a woman's attention.
Right.
A woman can have a vernacular that could be the next level.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that's going to grab a man's attention.
That's true.
Because the first thing he want to see is how she look.
Right. Yeah.
You try to hook up one of your boys with a girl, you be like, yo, Chris, I got a girl for you. First thing you're going to be like, how she look?
Yeah.
You know, it's because men are just so visual. It's that we don't choose to be. It's just what we are. So to the women that are, or the men are, you have men doing surgeries too. We talk about that too.
Yeah, they're doing it now too, surprisingly.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But we talk about the guy that just actually had surgery on his knees to make himself taller.
Yes.
So those moments
I wonder if he's getting women now because he's taller.
I think maybe his confidence might be up.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's why you said it's an internal thing.
Yeah.
I think it's an internal thing. I genuinely believe so. You know, we was talking to a guy the other day. He said to me, the one thing he realizes is that he had surgery because God made mistakes with him.
Oh, wow.
So do you think it's insulting to our creator by telling him, like, look, this is imperfection?
Listen, God made you the way you are for a reason. I think everybody has their own individual beauty,
Yes.
individual handsomeness, or
Yes,
what have
yes.
you. You gotta love yourself for you. You can't worry
Yes.
about what other people think, because what they think is not that important.
Yes.
And all these changes in your body, you know, ladies and men, you're gonna get older too.
Yes.
So once you do the surgery, you got to keep doing it.
You know, the other day I told her, you said the term ugly. I believe ugly is more of a character trait
Absolutely.
than it is a look.
Yes.
Because I just like,
Yes.
I might not be attracted to someone, but that someone might see that person as beautiful.
Absolutely.
You know, but I just might not be attracted to them.
Right.
I might not like short hair.
Right.
Right? I might like long hair. I might like short hair. I might not like long hair.
Right.
Right? But I feel like when you make your preference, right, the end all be all, you know how you know preferences by choice? You're black, I'm black. You can go to an Indian restaurant and love an Indian restaurant. I can go to an Indian restaurant and can't stand an Indian restaurant.
True.
But then I can go to a Japanese restaurant and enjoy it, and then you could not enjoy the Japanese restaurant.
Yeah.
I think everything is based on your taste,
Right. Your preference.
your preference. And that's what I'm starting to see. A lot of people push this whole, this look.
Right.
You know, I don't think marriage look a certain way. I think it behaves a certain way.
That's true. It's called growth.
Yes. You know, but it's just weird. Today in today's society, it's like, imagine, let's just say, hypothetically, you had a child that came to you and said, Mom, I'm thinking about getting surgery. How would that conversation sound?
I'm going to first ask why.
What does she say? I don't like something about myself. I don't want to pinpoint anything, but I don't like something about myself.
I'm going to instill in them why God made you the way you are, and you have to accept you for you. And again, don't do surgeries for other people.
Yes.
You know, I'm going to have to figure out what insecurities they have within themselves that they feel the need to go that route.
You know, some people, you know what they say? They'll say something like, it's the same thing as fixing your teeth. What do you feel about that?
No, it's not the same.
Is it completely different?
It's different. I mean, everybody probably wants a beautiful smile. I
Yes.
mean, your body is your body. That's a bit much.
I think so too. I don't really hear too many people dying from dental surgery.
Not really.
You know, but people are willing to go into the night. And it's sad because they're willing to fly out and have surgery by doctors that aren't to the same level,
Right.
right? And I don't know if they're better. I don't know. I don't want to say they are. They're not.
Right.
But it's dangerous flying to a third world country to get a surgery.
And not making it back, possibly.
Come on. You know, it's sad.
Yeah.
It's sad. You know, we're going to spend this episode talking about that, but that's crazy.
Yeah.
So do you think people value marriage today?
I think there's so many. Listen, social media could ruin people's marriages, by the way.
Yes, it does.
I think we have too many open outlets. It's not like when our grandparents were married or our parents were married. There's too many things. You can go on Facebook or Instagram and see naked women and
Yes.
men with their bodies, and now you're trying to compare your spouse to that person.
Yes.
And there's just too many open entities,
Yes.
you know, and once the Pandora box is open, it's open.
You know, you're right, because I remember when I first started getting like a lot of influence, attention, it went to my head a little bit.
Okay.
But I've always been like a star football player in my school. I've always been popular, always been known. In my grade, I was probably one of the most popular guys.
Okay.
Everyone knows me.
Right.
But the difference is the variety that you have access to now.
Easily.
You know,
too.
at least you believe you have access to.
Right.
Because most people are looking to attach themselves to something they have preconceived notions on.
That's not real.
Think about it. You come into church. I'm seeing you and your husband. I'm sitting there like, I wish I could take her from him. But then I realize that I'm not man enough to deal with you the way he could.
That's true.
I think that the shoe always looks comfortable until you put it on your
Until
foot.
you're inside the house, right?
That's crazy, right?
Yeah, it is.
You know, but let me ask you, what would you think, like, to the women that's out here searching for money?
Listen, I believe in having your own, first and foremost, because that's the way I raised my children, not just a male and female.
My children are very educated, guys.
Make your own money. It's
Yes.
fine. But your money, they say money, power, respect, eating right. But
Yes,
that might be true.
yes,
But the money can only buy tangible things
Yes.
for the time being.
yes.
You know, we have to, as a people, work on ourselves and stop worrying about the money. And I mean that in a manner where we need money to survive, but don't make that the end all be all, because there's more to life than just making the money, the dollars. What about your family?
You know, I always say this, and I say this for men and women. I think broke people don't think they broke. I think they just feel like they haven't found the right person,
Yeah, I agree.
which is sad that when I hear, I do a lot of consulting one-on-ones, and when you listen to like men and women complain about their mate not being able to help them, give them a materialistic lifestyle. When you start realizing that earning and making money and the responsibilities that come with it, you'll realize that maybe that's living in that room and enjoying life was a little better than all the heavy workload and responsibilities. Because think about it, when you worked at a job and you just as an employee, now they want to move you to upper management.
Right.
Most people, you know, you work in upper management in your job, so you know that that's not easy,
No, it's not.
but it looks easy because it's
It's
like,
stressful.
damn, yes. Because I feel like today's society is heavy on the titles.
Yes.
Heavy on titles.
Listen, titles mean absolutely nothing.
Come on.
I'm going to tell you something. The highest title is husband, and the highest title is wife. Those are the titles that matter the most.
And that I agree with 100%. They say like, I always ask my guests, what is a king without a queen?
That's correct.
And what is a queen without a king? Because imagine if you had a queen, she has her own village. That sounds like a lonely queen.
Very lonely.
But imagine a king with his own village. That sounds a lonely king.
It's true.
So when you look at, I think what we need to get back into is understanding companionship.
Yes.
Understanding that, look, it's not just about, there's somebody that really want to spend the rest of their life with me.
With all your flaws.
Come on, with all your flaws. I know
Yeah.
I'm flawed. Social media might give you a perception, but I know I have my issues. One of my major issues is I'm a procrastinator.
Okay.
But you would never guess it because
I'd
I put
never
people
guess that.
around me that aren't.
Wow.
So like when an idea sparks, I call the person I know is gonna be on it.
Oh, okay, good.
Like for instance, I'll call Sharon.
Okay.
Sharon and Sharon
Right away.
Sharon don't play.
That balance.
Yeah, so you gotta know who you are.
You need that in marriage too, by the way.
So let me ask you something. Being married over 20 something years, would you say that you had to compromise yourself or you were able to just remain who you are? Did you have to learn to change certain things about yourself?
I had to compromise a little bit because I am from West Indian descent. My
Yes.
husband is from American descent.
Yes.
We have two different cultural upbringings.
Yes.
So I did have to, shift a little bit. I grew up in a house with two parents. He grew up in a house with two parents, but unfortunately his father passed away when he was young.
Yeah.
So he was kind of raised by a single mother.
Yeah.
So there's a difference in our raising styles, and stuff like that.
Not speaking on him, but I'm just speaking in general. Do you think that a lot of times nowadays, single mothers overly spoil and baby their boys?
Yes.
And give me an example of what you see in today's society that represents that.
Coddling them too much, not allowing them to grow into the men that they should be. Ladies, stop spoiling your sons, please, because your sons are going to grow up to be somebody's husband, somebody's father, somebody's provider and protector. So fall back on the coddling, especially when they get to a certain age. Past 5, let him put on his own briefs.
You know what I said to a lady the other day? We was in my shop and she was like really being excessively babying. This guy's like, the boy's like 10 years old. And she's like, oh my God. Da, da, da. It's just, everything was extra. You know, one day I said to her, can I say something to you? She said, what? I said, you're going to create the man that you would never date.
That's true.
And she looked at me and said, what you say? I said, you're creating the man that you would never date. And then we complain. And mine, she's a single mother. I said, then we complain about the society, the men that's in society, but don't realize that we're the ones that's pushing out the men to society. And even as a father, the man I create is somebody's father.
Right.
It's someone's husband. It's someone's wife.
Right.
It's someone's girlfriend.
Right.
You know, so I had to learn, I can't overly be so extra with my daughter to the point where my daughter has an extreme level of expectations that are unrealistic. Because being your husband and being your father is not the same thing.
Two different things.
It's not the same thing.
Two different things.
You never heard that saying, ladies, find a man that love you like your father?
No, what if you didn't have a good father?
You see the logic? But when a lady told me that, she said, well, I want a man that love me like my father. I said, there is no man on earth.
That's going to love you like your dad.
No, there's no man can love my daughters more than me.
No, you're not
There's
going to
no
find
way.
it. No.
Because if they say you or her die right now, it's not even a question.
Yeah.
It's not even a thought. Her husband will think
Right.
and then react.
Yeah.
But he will think.
Right.
Even if he do it, he still will think first.
With your child, you're going to jump for
You're just
right
going to
away.
jump.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like, I just feel like society has been taught wrong. You ever heard of he's supposed to make you happy?
Yeah, I did hear that.
What do you think about that?
How about we both have to be happy?
Come on.
You know, they say happy life, happy wife.
Yep. I like the happy spouse, happy house.
Well, that's what I was going to get to. Yeah, I like that too.
But when you hear the happy wife, happy life, I'm gonna say this on record. I might get some slack for myself. I think a narcissistic woman created that phrase.
You think so?
Yes, because I feel like happy wife, happy life, meaning I'm not allowed to be happy unless my woman is happy, which is crazy. I think happy spouse, which is both of us,
Yeah.
happy house.
I think everybody should be
we're
happy.
supposed to,
Yeah, I
you know,
think everybody should.
and even like you said, even being married or being in a relationship, I think you should still do the things that you love.
Yes.
And then your husband should have time to do the things he loves.
I agree.
I realize that there are a lot of couples, they spend too much time with each other
Right.
to the point where they don't give each other time to miss each other.
Right.
So what would you say is the importance of having girl time and having your own friend time? What do you think is the importance of
I
a
know
relationship?
for me, I need that, you know, like our little shake spot.
Yes.
You know, I make sure that I go there as much as I can to digress so I can get into work.
Yes.
I believe in everybody having their own individual life.
Yes.
You know, I'm not saying, you know, not come together, but if you like sports and hanging out at the sports bar with your friends, okay, fine. Just make sure you're home at a decent hour. And I think that, you know, women should do the same. If you like hanging out with your friends and going
Yes.
on trips or
Yes.
what have you, do it.
Yes.
Don't stop what you're doing just because you're married, because you still got to come together no matter what.
Yes, I agree with. And you know, there was a girl one time, she asked a guy for his phone password, his social media password, his tracker on her phone. She get to see exactly where he's at every second. Told
That's too
him,
much.
you know, you just got in a relationship with a correction officer.
Yeah, that's too much.
That's your probation officer.
But then let me piggyback. Why is she asking for that?
Because
Did
her last
something happen?
relationship.
Oh, her last
She
relationship.
feels like her last relationship, she trusted him too much.
Okay.
And then this is what we talk about a lot in the Herbalife, me and you, is she's basically taking her trauma to the next relationship rather than healing.
No healing, right?
And then heal. So it's like, I'm gonna make Tyrone James, and I'm gonna treat Tyrone just like I treated James. Or I wish I could have treated James.
You know what I wish? I wish people would, and I'm coming from a dating perspective now, that people would just be real with themselves.
Yes.
You know, stop sending your representative to the person.
That's one of your
You
favorite
know,
statements.
Yeah, why
Say
don't
it
you
up.
just be real? Why don't you tell people who you are, how you are? Stop faking the funk. It doesn't make sense. It just creates more drama unnecessarily. Tell me who you are so I can, you know, have the
Yes.
option to date you or not date you.
You know a tip I tell women a lot? When I talk to them one-on-one, I say, when meeting a man or you start getting courted by a man, don't tell him nothing.
I agree with that one.
Limit what you tell him about yourself, because men are chameleons. We adjust to our prey.
Right.
So if a woman tells me she wants a man to go to church, I'm gonna start quoting scripture. If a woman tells me she wants to go out to restaurants, I'm gonna do it. I think the worst thing a woman can do is to meet another man while she's in a relationship. Because 9 out of 10 times women are very emotional. And when they're emotional, they tend to give all the answers to the test.
Right.
Well, she gonna say, my man don't call, I'm gonna start calling. My man don't hang out with me, I'm gonna start hanging out with her. My man don't give me an attention, I'm gonna give her attention. So I think a lot of times women have to be conscious of what they're telling the new man, because you basically giving them an open book exam to how to
do you
get your
dirty.
price. Yes. And then they complain. I'm like, because you told them too much.
You know what I tell my kids, if you are going into another relationship and they ask why did it end, use the term irreconcilable differences. It just didn't work out.
I love that. I love that. So let me ask you a question as a parent. Let's just say hypothetically, you meet your child's mate. How would that look if you don't like that person?
You know what? Mate meaning they're married already?
No, they're dating.
Okay. I try to stay out of my kids' relationships, number one,
Because I say
because
after a certain age, we should be dating with a purpose.
right.
Okay.
Yes, you
what
should
age
be.
would you say that is? We should be start dating with a purpose.
25.
20.
Up.
I would assume so too.
Yeah.
Because 18, 19, 20,
You're
21,
still
22
trying to figure yourself out.
Yes.
Like 25 to 30, you know, date with purpose.
Date with purpose.
Stop wasting each other's time.
So let's say your son would have brought the opposite of what you like. Or you like her.
I am going to, at that point, mind my business. I'm going to be honest with you, because you have to allow your child to go through whatever it is they're going through. If that person's not right for them, eventually they will get it.
Hope
because
so.
it's really, you hope so. Yeah. It's not really about what you want or what you like.
Yes.
It's what they want and
Yes.
what they like.
Yes.
So you just got to have to sit back. Have I been in circumstances like that where my child might have brought somebody home and I'm like, deep down inside, I'm like, we don't like this guy, or we don't like this girl, or something to that effect. Yeah, we have. We don't say anything at that time. After they break up, and they start to share,
Yes.
maybe then we'll
start
say,
talking.
I didn't see that person for you.
I think it's true because I think the more you tell your child at that age you don't like them, the more they're going to like them.
Yes, they're going to go right after him even more.
Yes. I'll give you a scenario. One time, there was one of my siblings. He brought a girl to me, and I didn't like the girl. I didn't like the girl because she was rude. I didn't like the girl because she felt like she is God's gift to earth. I feel like you walking into my home, you're supposed to be very, very humble,
Oh, yeah.
right? If I walk into your home, I'm not going to walk into your home, especially uninvited.
Right.
I didn't even invite his girlfriend. He brought her. And she walked into my home like she's God's gift to earth.
Did she speak?
She spoke, but it was like, you're honored to be able to speak to her.
Oh, okay.
And then one day I said to him, I said, do me a favor.
Oh, wow.
And the way she insulted my family was so disrespectful. I said to him, I'm going to tell you something. It's either me or it's her.
Oh, wow.
I said, because I won't deal with you with a her. I said, because we're a family.
Right.
And the way she insulted us as a family, you says you're on her side because of the fact that you admitted that she was 100% wrong. And if she can't humble herself and apologize, I don't want nothing to do with her.
I hear that.
And I had to stand on my ground because she was very disrespectful and rude. And it was like you walk in a place like, those little stushy people that walk in with their head up like, speak to me first? That kind of mentality.
Girl, bye.
So let me ask you, before we get out of here today, give me some very, very, I want you to speak from a woman's perspective, and I'm going to tell you from a man's perspective. What do you think when being courted by a man, what are things you think a woman should definitely have her eyes out? Give me 5 red flags that she should automatically be able to see.
Is he bringing you to his family?
That's the one good red flag.
Are you always paying for things?
Are you? Damn. Now hold on. Damn.
Is he always at your house?
Is he always at your house?
Is he hiding any kids?
Is he hiding any kids?
Because they sometimes hide the kids.
They do. I'm not gonna lie, they do.
What number am I?
Was it 3 or 4? 4.
Is he a protector and a provider? If he's not, you need to run.
Now I'm gonna be honest. She said 5 things about men, and I'm gonna agree with everything she said. I think she's 100% accurate, ladies, about what she said about men. Now I'm gonna give you 5 things I would say red flags men should care about when it comes to women.
Okay.
Number 1, be mindful how she talks to the men that are in her life.
I agree.
Would you agree with that statement?
Yes, I do.
Number 2, if her son or her daughter is not her first priority, then you should know who you're dealing with.
Absolutely.
Number 3, never put yourself in a position with a woman that's materialistically you can't afford the lifestyle that she wants,
I agree.
right?
Yes.
Number 4, can she submit? And I would say number 5, one of the most important ones to me is be mindful of how she speaks when she's angry.
Oh yes.
How do you feel about that?
Let me say something
I'm
about
listening.
that too. This is just my humble opinion. Women are very emotional. You and I have had this conversation before. I think that 85% of what we say when we're angry, we really don't mean it. But I'm gonna tell you, yeah, it's hurtful. It is. The tongue, it could slither like a snake, and it could bite you. Trust and believe, I know that. But I think when a man speaks and he says what he's saying, he means every bit of it.
I agree.
He means it.
But I think a lot of times though, and I'm going to be fair, I think women have a memory of an elephant.
Okay.
And I think sometimes, like, man, I had arguments with women, and after the conversation, I'm like, damn, I wish I would have remembered that. Like to take a shot back.
Oh, okay.
But I think women, they it's like they remember everything.
No, yeah, they remember.
Dates, times, stamps.
We'll bring up stuff before the marriage.
But I will say is, make sure when she argues with decency.
Yes.
I feel like because if a woman could have reserve with her boss, she should be able to have reserve in her relationship.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Because you look at it like, look, if you curse at your boss, you're gonna lose what?
Your job.
So if a woman curses at her husband, she gonna lose her job
lose
too.
your man, yeah.
And vice versa for a man.
Yeah, I agree.
Can I always say I think the highest level of currency a woman can pay a man is with respect.
Yeah, that's number one.
It's the highest one.
And not every man deserves respect though.
I agree.
And I'm gonna
You
say
shouldn't
this.
be with him though.
Okay.
You shouldn't be with him. You know, one thing I will say, I'm gonna give you a quick story. One day we walk in the gym, and there was a guy, and I'm gonna say this, Dre, don't get mad at me, I love you.
Ooh.
So there's a guy trying to kick it to Karen in the gym. Me and Karen used to work out together in the gym, right? Karen's a beast too, guys, just so y'all know that. She get busy, right? And Karen got something called the resting BITCH face.
Oh, gosh.
Where it's like her face is just like, she's the sweetest lady on earth, but she got the I don't play that face. So especially when she's in the gym, she don't like to be bothered.
Right.
You worked out with her before. You worked out with you.
Yeah.
So that's how she is. But anyway, I'm gonna tell you what I love about Karen and Dre's marriage. Karen told her husband that a guy was trying to flirt with her. Dre is so secure that he didn't even worry about it. Because one thing you gotta understand, if you date a beautiful woman, guys, you gotta admit Karen's a beautiful woman.
Oh, thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
Let's be fair. You have to understand that people are gonna try to pursue. I think the number one person in that situation that matters is the person that's being pursued.
Right.
So for instance, if a woman tries to holler at me, the level of respect I have for my woman is how I deflect her trying to holler at me.
Right, yeah. I agree.
So one thing I will say is I love that about y'all. It was like a joke more so.
Yeah.
He wasn't worried because Karen was like, he know my wife ain't going nowhere. And that's the security that she provides with her husband. And that's one thing I love. And I saw that and I was like, wow, I love that for them.
Thank you.
And you know, I wish that more people would understand because I've seen women get a certain type of guy in their DM and they entertain them even when they're married.
Yeah, no,
and I've seen men do it also, and I'm being fair.
Yeah. My DM's is kind of full too for an old lady, but I don't entertain it.
Don't say old lady.
I laugh at it sometimes.
You're still a woman.
I laugh.
Still a woman.
Yeah.
Thirst will be thirst. I know thirsty
Yeah.
50-year-old men. I know thirsty 40-year-old men.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
thirsty 30-year-old men, 20-year-old men.
Oh, yeah.
I know some men that don't stop being thirsty. They're thirsty to the end of time.
Right.
So before we get out of here today, give me something that you feel going into the world and starting a family. What do you think people should know? Give me something that's a con, not something that's a good. Something that people should know. Like you should know this, you know? Because I want people to think that a marriage or a relationship is a straight run of happy and joy and butterflies and, you know, I don't want people to think like that because I'm a divorcee.
Okay.
And I'm going to be honest, I went into the marriage thinking that every day you're going to be madly in love and you're going to hold hands running into the sunset. And guess what? You're going to passionately kiss as the sun glazes off her skin. And I thought like that, and so did she. And then when the makeup and everything came off, I'm not saying makeup based on looks, I'm talking about the real character
Came down. Yeah.
You started seeing like, damn, we got to be tough to be with each other.
Wow.
What would you say is something that people should understand when going into a commitment?
It is not a fairy tale.
Okay.
And marriage is honestly not for the faint heart or the weak. You can't go in thinking that everybody is going to be you. I said
Yes.
that before in the conversation.
Yes.
You have to allow people to be their own individual self
Yes.
and accept what's going on in their life, accept their traumas, accept their faults, their flaws, and all these other things that come with marriage. Guys, we all have issues. You have issues, I have issues. Everybody has issues. Everybody just needs to be real at the end of the day. Why are we so fake?
Why are we so fake?
Why are we so fake? So how about you take off the mask and just be real? And it's not the Cinderella story. You know, people get sick, people lose their job, people, you know, lose their homes, so many things that's going on in a marriage. And you just have to just honestly just find the balance. Yes. You know, and just keep the respect going, keep the love and the communication open, and don't go in it blindly, please.
So before we get out of here today, I got you one more time. Is there anything else you want to say before we get out of here today?
Everybody, just please be yourself. Keep love alive. Let's just break the generational curses. That's the most important thing. I'm kind of tired of seeing, you know, black families disintegrate.
Yes.
You know, fathers, take care of your children, even if you're not with the mothers anymore.
Yes.
Financially and emotionally, that's very important too. Women, let's try to uplift our black kings, white kings, Indian kings, whatever it is, whatever your nationality is. Let's try to instill and motivate each other to be better people.
You know, one thing you always say to me, and I love it, is you say, stop creating homes that you have no intention on building. Imagine if everyone created a home and left the house halfway done. That's what you're starting to see in today's society. When you go out in the world, you see a lot of houses that are halfway complete.
You're right.
Man, don't start creating homes that you have no intentions on planting roots and building. Because I look at society today, a lot of men, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm taking ownership of this, we don't look at the long-term effect that it has when it comes to creating a child.
Right.
Because again, women are emotional. Men, and we really do take advantage of their emotions. But a hurt person will only create hurt. A person that comes from trauma in most cases will create trauma. But the issue is that we having children who are reflections of our trauma, who are creating more trauma. The broken are creating broken. The unstable are creating the unstable. When we look at today's society, guys, we gotta learn that it's on us, like she said, to break the generational curse. There is no making an excuse. There is no pointing the finger. Because I'm gonna tell you, as she said, I am a divorcee. When you go into a marriage, from my perception, it's put people around you who are in it for the long haul, who are willing to tell you the goods, the bads, and the uglies of marriage.
Oh, yes.
Because she said something a second ago, and I hope it resonated with a lot of you guys. It's not for the what? The heart, the what?
The weak-hearted.
The weak-hearted.
Can't do it.
No, because again, I genuinely believe that love do not sustain a relationship. I believe it's friendship.
Yes.
And I think that is one of the very vital key things. When I'm looking at myself as a divorcee, I lost my friend.
Wow.
And I ultimately lost my relationship. Right. And that's me being fair to you guys and honest. I think keeping the jokes, the laugh, the fun, because even when I seen you and Dre, when you said it, y'all laughed about it. It was like a joke.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know the dopest couple, and I want to say this before I leave. You ever seen a couple that be like, the woman be like, look at her butt big, and they both look?
Yeah.
Because she knows he gonna look.
Yeah, yeah.
You like, to make a man.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
that means you
realistic.
insecure.
Yeah.
Like me, I'll tell my girl, I'm like, yo,
Did you
he
see
a good
that?
looking guy.
Yeah.
He a good looking guy. She be like, he is a good looking guy. I'm not insecure.
Right.
Because chances are, if she wants him, she will go after him. But again, it's a choice that a person chooses to stay with you.
Right.
Right, and that's from both sides. We say things like settling. Settling is on both sides, men and women. Guys, it's not settling. Sometimes you just might have found your match.
Yeah. They say you pick who you are.
You pick who you are. Would you say anything else before we get out of here today?
I just want to tell you, I thank you for allowing me to
Come on,
come
don't
on
do
the
that.
show. I appreciate you
This is
utilizing.
overdue. We supposed to do this over a year ago, guys, just so y'all know that.
I thank you for utilizing my information, and
Yes.
I honestly hope it helps somebody. I hope I touch somebody out there.
Yeah, you definitely have. The live is going
that's
crazy
it.
right now.
I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, it's a lot of people that love. Yeah, so guys, tell them where they can find you at and keep up with you.
You can find me on Facebook, K Bigby, and you can find me on Instagram at Black Widow 11412. All right, God bless.
She's an amazing woman, guys. For those who already know the message, the lingo, don't let this go over your head.